So there are three kinds of control statements. First one is decision making statements. Decision making basically means you have if blocks, if statements. You can use if, else if, or only else. So wherein you make decisions, you check if a is greater than 7, for example. So that is you are making decision based on some condition. So that is one decision making statement. There is a switch case also. Like you've already done it in C and C++. So I'll just talk only about the example. Switch case basically means if a marks of a particular subject are given, for example, data structures, you'll write switch a greater than 80, then grade equal to a plus. A greater than 70, less than 80, grade equal to a, like that. So simply, in place of writing so many of if and else, you can simply use switch and case. Then there are looping statements. So for is the very famous loop statement that you use. So for example, if you want to print something, like for example, numbers from 1 to 10, you will write for I equal to 0, I less than 11, or I less than 10, I plus plus. Then you will just print those numbers. That is the looping statement. Why looping statement? Because you're looping over it again and again till the condition is satisfied. When the condition is false, it comes out of the loop. Then there are jump statements. One of them is break, one of them is continue. If you want to check, if you want to write every number except 7, for example, so you can just simply use break and that loop will be break there. So this is how control statements in Java also work. We'll talk about it, but we'll first we'll look into the example of control statements also. But first we will talk about what a method is, and then uh, we can go about in solving that particular problem. So when I talk about a method declaration, so basically what it means is if you want to write a particular method, for example, so everything will be inside class only, but just to tell you what a method looks like. So in a method, there are four things: access specifier, return type, method name, and parameter list. So if I'm asking you to write a method for addition of two numbers, because that is the very basic example, that's why I'm only talking about addition of two numbers only. So it will be public int add two numbers, and there will be some parameter list. Here I will give two parameters, int a, int b. So this is how a method will look like. This is the body of method. This is the body of method. So now what happens is when we talk about method declaration, so declaration has four things. First is the access specifier that I've already mentioned. There are different access specifiers like public, private, protected, default. So public is the access specifier that we are using. Second is return type. When you write void, you won't get any error. But when you are writing int, at this point you will get error in Eclipse. Eclipse will say that please return something. And if I write return something, then this will not throw any error. But as of now, just to explain you what return type is, so int is the return type. Then method name. So method name is this, add two numbers. So again, if you have noticed that I've started A with small letter because this is a method name and this is just the convention standard that we follow. Then finally, we have this parameter list. So this complete thing, access specifier, return type, method name, and parameter list, this complete thing is a method declaration. This is known as method declaration. This is a function, but in Java we call function as method. So I will only call it as a method only. So this is a method declaration. Now what is a method signature? Method signature is basically this method name and parameter list. This is known as method signature. So add two numbers int a, int b. This is the method signature. And this complete thing what I have selected is method declaration. So if this is clear, we'll talk about classes and objects later. But first we will try to solve one or two examples of control statements and methods. So first simple example that we can solve is, suppose we have got a marks of one student of only one subject. What we are going to do? We'll just check what is his grade. So simply I'll write calculate pointer. We call it pointer, I guess. So I'll write calculate pointer, and it will be public static void main. Similarly, every program will start with this only. Now what I am writing. Now again, as I mentioned that there is a string that we use here. That is the non-primitive data type. So in Java, you can simply use string. I will give name. And in name, I will write args of 0 because I'll write the name of the person from command line. Second is int marks equal to 74, for example. Again, this will throw error because I forgot writing this semicolon. So we have to write semicolon. Now what we do, we again say string result. We are declaring this. Now what we are trying to do, we will be using if block. So we will check if marks greater than 80, then result equal to A plus. Else if marks greater than 70. To write two statements, we use this and marks less than equal to 80. Because greater than 80 is A plus, so less than equal to 80. We write result equal to A, semicolon. Or else, I will not check other conditions just to make it simple. I'll write result equal to B. Suppose only B grade is the last grade or B plus. Okay, I'll not talk about any other things here now. So I guess you have understood what a if block looks like. So this is what I have selected. And you are checking the condition here. If marks are greater than 80, then result A plus. If marks are between 70 to 80, I mean greater than 70 and less than equal to 80, from 71 to 80, that means A, or else the result is B plus. Now we have to write the result also. So to write the output, we use system dot out dot println. Okay. So in println, what I will write? I will write this name. And now in Java, if you want to do string concatenation, so I have to print the output, and the format of output is this. I'm writing it using comments. Format of output is name has got result grade. Result means whatever the result is saved here, and name is the whatever name will be coming from command line argument. So this is what you have to write. Okay, so we will write the same thing here. But in how do we do concatenation in string? We will use like this. You write name and you write plus. Plus is used to concatenate. And whatever you want to write, you have to write it in double quotes for string. So I'm writing name has got the. Now again, I want to write result because result is a variable grade. This is my complete statement. So suppose I'm entering the name as Pratyush. So the output will be Pratyush has got the A grade. Okay. Has got A grade. Why? Because marks are 74 and based on this condition, result will be A only. Okay. So I'll change the name to not pointer because we are not calculating pointer. It is calculate grade only. So Pratyush has got A grade. If I'm passing Pratyush in the argument, for example. So this is again a simple code. I'll try to run this code first. Then I will keep it here. You can copy the code. Let me save the code. Again, I will use the same name of the class. Calculate grade is the name of the class. Please make sure it is all files. Calculate grade.java. So now when I try to run Java C, calculate grade.java. So this is compiled successfully. And if we see here, we have got calculate grade.class also. So what I'm trying to do, I'll run this calculate grade. Then I am trying to pass the arguments, the thing that we have seen in the previous program. So when I pass this, see the output is Pratyush has got A grade. As I've already mentioned that this is how you write a method name. Suppose now we write a program and the program will be to calculate the maximum of three numbers. I will delete this. So suppose we are writing a new program. It will be max of three numbers. This is the program. But in this program, the only requirement is you have to write a method where it will calculate a maximum of three numbers. Or I'll just write the class name as maximum. So first method will be always main, but now you have to create a new method also. So first, let me write a main class. In main class, I'll not do anything now. We'll just write our function, our method. So the method name will be public int max of three numbers. This is the name that I want to give. And here there will be three integers. I'm not using float or double as of now. I'm just keeping it simple. Just the maximum of three numbers. Int C. So as you have written int here, you have to return something. So what I'll do, int max, I'll create this variable here. So I will write the logic in two ways. One is using the if block only. Second is using the ternary operator that I've already mentioned. The first will start with if. If you want to calculate a maximum of three numbers, you just focus on the logic. I'll freeze my screen. I'll let you write the code. No worries. So first is I will check if A is greater than B. So we have to check maximum of three numbers. So what do we do here? We check first if A is greater than B. If this is the true statement, what do we write? If A is greater than C. If A is greater than C, that means you can write A is the maximum. I'll copy this line just to save time. If A is greater than B, then you check if A is greater than C. If it is greater, then means A is maximum, or else we will write C is maximum. I've just copy pasted this line. I'll just write C is the maximum. So this is the first if block. Now we are writing if A is greater than B. What if A is not greater than B? So again, I will copy these lines. I'll just change the code. I just wanted to save time. So here, if A is greater than B, which is false. So what happens is we go to else. That means if A is not greater than B. There I will paste this code. So there I will check if B is greater than C. If that is true, I will write B is the maximum or else C is the maximum. This is first logic, wherein you have to write these many lines of code. This is the code that you have written to calculate the maximum element. So what I will do, I'll just try to run this code first. But before running the code, you have mentioned the method name, but you have to call this method. From where you will call this, you will call it from within your main method. So now what you do, you directly write, or what we can do here is I guess this is my mistake. So in place of system.out.println, what I will write? I will just write max equal to that particular variable, which is the greatest one. I mean, which is the maximum of all three. Because I've created a variable max and the return type is int. So we have to return something. Similarly here, I will write max equal to b and here max equal to c. Then here I will write return max. So what it means is when you call this, when you write system.out.println, and when you directly call this max of three numbers, this is how you call a method. And you pass three numbers, 4, 7, 9, or let us pass 6. So 7 will be the greatest. This should be the output. The class name is maximum. I'll save it. I'll save it as maximum.java. Mark it all files. Save it. When you run this Java C maximum.java, so we are getting some error. So what is this error telling us about? So when you read the error, it is simply telling you that non-static method, and the method name is max of three numbers. We have not written static here. Cannot be referenced from a static context. So if I write static here, now you see that there is no error because the error was only telling you that method is non-static and you are referring it from a static method because main is a static method. That's why we just have written public static int. Int is the return type and the max of three numbers. Okay, this is as simple as that. Now when you write Java maximum, this will print 7 because the input that you are given is 4, 7, and 6. So 7 is the maximum of three numbers. So this is how you write methods in Java.